Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today is episode 20 of Know Your Author series, and today we have with us Nasreen Variyawa. She is a best-selling author, she's an editor, she's a ghostwriter, and let's find out more from Nasreen herself. Hello everyone, welcome back. So today we have with us Nasreen Variyawa. With multiple solo and co-authored bestsellers to her name, Nasreen prides herself on Nasreenology Pro Authoring, a little consultancy she manages from her home in Bursa, Turkey. Her philosophy is that everybody is born with a best-selling story within, and that everyone who tells it positively contributes to humanity. Storytelling is the most powerful form of connection, and when we connect, we motivate and elevate people globally. As an author, ghostwriter, and editor, she currently assists aspiring authors to turn their dreams of becoming published authors into reality. Nasreen is an award-winning author who has helped many authors to achieve the same. She is a South African-born author who moved to Turkey 9 years ago when she exchanged stilettos and suits as a corporate trainer and writer for lab coats and running shoes as an ESL teacher. She later began a small writing gig that has steadily become a force to reckon with. In a span of 5 years, Nasreen has worked with 15 authors and helped to publish 30 books. Her latest book, Exceptional Authors Are Authentic, has won 2 awards, one of which will be announced on 15 September 2021. So welcome, Nasreen. How are you doing?
Well, thank you. Thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure
I'm
to
so
be
happy
here.
to have you. I always love little interactions that I have with you on our social media, whether it's Facebook or Instagram. But I'm really, really happy and excited and honored to have you on my show.
Same here. Wonderful being here finally.
So tell us about yourself. How was your childhood? How was the child, Nasreen? We want to know.
Quite unlike the adult, from what I understand. But I think what's common with the adult and the child is that the pen and the paper has never left the hand. No matter what my personality was as a child and what I was busy with or not busy with, I was always attached to pen and paper. I was always writing something. I was always doing something associated with it. It concerned my parents a little bit. They would be concerned that the other children are playing outside, but Nasreen is sitting in one corner, quite content with the pen and paper to write whatever she felt like or do whatever she felt like. And so they would encourage me to go out and play with my cousins and to do activity and to be more active than I was. And sometimes that would irritate me because I would be so into what I was doing that I didn't want to. But they were right in their place and I was right in mine. I'm glad I got to do a little bit of both, even though sometimes it was forced. I guess it's just a matter of a comfort zone that you find as a child, and that's where you want to stay. So very much a dreamer as a child, very much living in my head kind of thing. Very imaginative, very creative. I did well with those kinds of things. I did well at creative writing at school. So that was a big indicator from the very beginning. I enjoyed teaching others what I knew. So, that eventually led to a career in education before it became full-time authoring. So how I was as a child was extremely studious, extremely concerned about how I was performing at school, very competitive, and very creative, very much the orator, always taking part in debates and speech competitions and all of that. Uh, so,
Sounds like a little bit of, my story as well. So
yeah.
It's really nice to hear, from somebody else. And when you meet someone like oceans apart, like really different continent, different country, and then people are similar in their ways.
Yeah,
Especially I
yeah.
see as an author, it's like so strikingly similar habits, I would say, since childhood.
I think the indicators are all there.
Yeah, the indicators are there. Yeah.
Um,
Storytelling is always there, I see, like in all the writers and authors.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, there's some way or
In
the
your
other, they're
head,
always
it
telling a
just, yeah.
story.
Mm. Life is always happening. And even as a child, I would peg whatever happened as that would make a great story.
Yeah.
Oh, that one's a nice scene. So it would happen in my head accordingly. And nobody would understand the mind of an author when it is growing, I think, as much as the author themselves. We know it, but nobody else knows it, and nobody else can understand it as much as we do.
Like what's happening inside.
Yes.
I mean, I was cooking up the stories for my brother. He was younger than me. So to
Mhm.
entertain him, I had many ideas and I was spinning up the stories. So I like if you're talking now, I can see that I was doing that for him, that he was
Yeah.
really used to enjoy my stories.
Great. Yeah. Yeah.
So tell us, what are your favorite food, drinks, hobbies? How do you like to spend your time with?
Um, Food wise, I'm a big foodie. The trouble with that is that I'm diabetic, so I can't eat everything that I like. However, I do love rice very much. Anything that is associated with rice, I think just the smell of basmati rice gets my
Wow.
stomach churning, and
Yes,
I start salivating. I get hungry all of a sudden, and I want to eat that. I don't think even today my husband was expecting me to make, a dish, but I was feeling for my mom's what we call akni plau, and I'm
yes,
sure you're familiar with that. So
yeah,
I,
yeah.
I I changed my mind halfway through the morning, and changed the recipe and cooked up an agni plau quickly, and I'm very happy with myself. He walks into the kitchen like, "What's this?"
Yeah, I think we all, I mean, I am also a very much biryani and, yakhni pulao person. And
Yeah,
pulao is
yeah,
very comforting dish, I would say. Like biryani takes
yes,
time, to make
yes.
rice and things, but pulao is like the comfort thing, that I will just
And
one pot pulao,
the
yeah.
quick rice fix is what I call it.
Quick rice and it really fixes your soul from inside. You miss the yakhni pulao.
I'm telling you, when we were growing up, and it's still the case in my mom's home, I'm not sure everywhere else, but Friday was treated like Eid in our house every Friday. So every Friday there's a rice dish, and no matter who comes to the house, after Juma Salah, they would be treated to a rice dish. And my mom prepares, it's not just the rice dish, it's everything that goes with it, the salad, the sambles, the papad. I miss papad a lot in Turkey. When I'm back home, I can eat a whole
You
packet
have to
by
bring the
myself.
packets of papad and then you can make. And
So I
it's
miss
difficult to
papad very
explain to
much.
people what papad is really because I don't know, it's not really a chips. We don't sell
Oh
it in
no,
packets like the cooked
yeah,
papad. You really have to bake it or fry it,
yes,
immediately, and you have to eat it on the spot, otherwise it becomes soggy. So
yeah.
yeah, it's hard to explain people what actually is papad, but for easiness, I say okay, it's chips.
Yeah, so those
So
are
how
my
do you like to
favorites.
spend your time with apart from when you're not reading, writing, or teaching writing?
I'm a complete child, so I like to go to the park. And luckily for me, Turkey is full of them. In one neighborhood, you would have at least two or three parks. Right across the house from where I live, there's a park also. So when I want time out and I don't want to see my books, I don't want to talk to my clients. I don't want to teach, or I don't want to write. You will find me in any park, and I'm quite the child. I get onto the swing and swing with the children. I push them on the swings. I take off my shoes and get onto the slide because I'm still tiny enough to ride on one. I still get onto the seesaw and play with any child that's alone. Come play with me. So I'm quite the child. But other than that, I enjoy a good movie from time to time, just to take my mind off things. I enjoy a good book. I love to read. I'm quite the reader. And I love the kitchen. So from time to time, you'll find me tinkering in there with some or other thing that has crossed my mind and that I'm feeling for. Or, sometimes I just want to spoil the neighbors or to spoil my husband. So I get in there and do something. I don't get much of those days, by the way. So much of my time is taken up writing, editing, and working with other authors that when the time comes for me to be free, I shut my computer down, I shut my phone down, and I do what I call a technology detox. I don't look at it at all. I do things where I can use my hands and which require activity, and that enables me to come back then and pursue what I pursue with a passion
Yeah, I
and
think
with an energy that it requires, mental and emotional energy that sometimes writing for others requires. And otherwise, I wouldn't be able to do it. I couldn't be stuck in the office all the time. It would drive me crazy.
so. Now we are coming to the books, and the authors. So who's your favorite author, and which is your favorite book, and what is the genre that you like? Because it's very difficult, I see, with the authors to pick up one book, or like they have a genre, or they have like books from certain authors. So I give them that spectrum to choose.
Um, I know people expect us editors and authors to read just books about editing and authoring and learning the skill. But when I'm on timeout, I enjoy anything and everything. So I don't have a genre per se. I love autobiographies. I like learning about other people's lives, especially politicians. I like learning about famous people, about renowned people, not because I idolize them or look up to them in any way, but I think lives are fascinating. It's fascinating to learn how other people live, the experiences they've had. It's fascinating to connect with them and see if there's any similarities between your life and theirs, between your experiences and theirs. I like books about travel. I'm transported into another world when it comes to travel, and alhamdulillah, I get to do a lot of that. So I love reading about the different parts, nooks, and crannies of Turkey, so I can plan where I can go next. I also love just reading any good story. But my all-time favorite has to be Nicholas Sparks for an author. Nicholas Sparks' style of writing, his ability to connect with the readers, his ability to describe, his flow, and just the quality of the stories. It's fabulous. But I must also make mention that I've recently read Usma Jalaluddin, both her books, Aisha at Last and Hannah Khan Carries On. Yeah. And I must say that I thoroughly enjoyed both of them, and I'm a new fan. So I look to new authors as well. I look to getting their books, authors that have just entered the industry. I think there are some fabulous authors out there. I like reading. Religious books as well, and not necessarily Islamic books. I enjoy a wide spectrum of books because I like to have a wide spectrum of knowledge of how everybody else thinks and feels and what their thought processes are. But of recent, I must make mention of Secrets of Divine Love by A. Helwa, which I think is a fabulous book. And I think everybody should read and try to practice what's in there, because it's wonderful stuff to be able to learn new things and do different things.
Yeah, it's like, oh my God, when I checked that book and when I took it, it was like, wow, And then I'm just not rushing with that book, I just go there, I read few pages, I try to think, and then I come back, It's like even few pages give you so much, and you're satisfied and you're coming back to it again and again, again and again. So I haven't finished it yet, but I just
nor
go back to
have
the book
I.
again and again.
Nor have I. It's a book that you have to read in progress.
Yeah.
I think if you look at my book inside, I'm using it like a workbook. I've
Written
put
notes
stickers,
there?
not notes, but I've put stickers on the important pages, and I've underlined the important things and things that I should be doing but I'm not doing, or something I'd like to try. I think it's a fabulous book, and I think everybody, whether you're Muslim or not, should actually read it.
Definitely. I mean, this is
Definitely.
like, oh my God, book.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
like after every 2 lines, it's like, wow, and then you read next 2 lines and wow, and then you just want to stop it there for today. It's like,
I know
I'm full with
exactly
that
what you mean.
content, and I'm so happy that I absorb that knowledge and I will come back to it later.
Yeah. When I was a child and I was growing up, I thought Enid Blyton was a fantastic author.
Yeah.
And I still maintain that she is one of the best authors that the world has ever seen. So as a child, I was her big fan. And I still think that, she's her books are still a force to reckon with when it comes to children's books.
Yeah. I think, I mean, I love all the classics, I would say. And then like I'd go time to time to classics to take a break, from life. And it helps me to see what was happening in the 17th century and the 18th century, how people are doing and how they were struggling with the small little things. And sometimes some conditions of the women are still same. And then I'm like, oh my God, we are still there, or we haven't progressed, or, like, or some things you feel like, that things have really changed and you are thankful for those changes. So yeah, I mean, I'd say like reading really opens up your, mind, and
Mind. Yes.
especially like in
It's
COVID.
another way to travel, isn't it?
Yeah, it's actually traveling, like if you are not able to really travel, but you travel with your mind when you open up a book, you travel in the mind of the author, he takes you to different places, you experience different things.
And your head goes into a different space also, your imagination.
Yeah, so that's why when we're reading and somebody disturbs us, it's like, we are there. Don't bring us back.
Yeah, when I'm into a good book, I do other things because I have to do them, not because I want to do them, because I really want to finish the book.
Yeah, sometimes, this happens. So how was this writing journey? I mean, I see that the pen and the paper never left you, but when did the writing bug bit you?
There was a point in time when the pen and paper had to leave for a while. I always say that that is the period of time in which life happened, when life becomes about survival and not about your passion anymore, when you have to work to survive and not work because you're passionate about something. Not to say that my career in education and training was torture or anything like that. I was good at it. I loved doing it. And when I was in education and training for the tertiary sector, for the work sector, I enjoyed it. I was good at it. When I left that and came to Turkey and I was an ESL teacher, I enjoyed that a little bit more because it's hands-on and there were children involved and there was lots of fun. It was lots of fun being around the children all the time. So I did that for 7 years and that was fun. But along that journey, when I came to Turkey and I started teaching ESL, I had an offer from a leadership coach by the name of Sensei, and he offered me, a master class in leadership. And of course, that had nothing to do with what I was doing at the time. But he said to me, I see a little bit of potential in you. And I think you got nothing to lose. Just join my masterclass every Sunday. If it's for you, it's for you. If it's not for you, leave it. So I joined it, used to join in the discussions and things like that. And I went till the end. And then he said, okay, so I have a challenge for all of you. And the challenge is to write a book in a month. Oops, okay. Really don't have time to write a book in a month, but okay. So I took the challenge and I went till the end, and he read it and he said to me, don't you think there's a bit of potential in here that you're not tapping into? And that's when, Sana, I started telling myself, hey, hold on. First, I enjoyed doing this exercise, although it was just a month. I enjoyed this exercise. It took me back to a day in time when writing was a passion. And I just wrote with abandon. And that's how I felt when I wrote the first book again. That's how I felt again. And then I explored it, and he said, well, I have another challenge for you. I'm going to put a book together with 25 odd authors in it. You're the chief editor. So come on board as my editor and see what you can do with that. And I did. I had no knowledge per se of editing. I know what an editor does. I know what should be done. But I took on this project, and it was during a school break. And when I did it, I thoroughly enjoyed myself. The book went on to become a bestseller. And at the same time, I was writing another book called Ignite the Champion Within. And I published that at the same time as well. And after that happened, I started getting offers from around the globe, people wanting their books edited, people wanting transcription, people wanting ghostwriting, people wanting me to manage their multi-author book projects. And I continued teaching, but on the side, I would have these little projects going. And that is how Nasreeniology Pro Authoring grew into what it is today. I'm only not teaching for the last 2 years since I got married. But I have now progressed into something that I've always wanted to do, and I've sort of come back home to it.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
it's growing steadily, slowly. And I don't know how it happens, and I don't know how people hear about me. I don't know how they hear about the books that I'm working with, but it happens. And alhamdulillah, I can't complain because I absolutely enjoy it and I love doing what I do.
No, this is amazing. And then I like authors, they're connected, and they tell if they read a good book, and then they tell if they had a good editor, and then how, it spreads around and how it's happened. So
yeah. Word of mouth marketing is still, it still reigns, because I'm not advertising per se. It just happens that somebody knows somebody who needs a book edited or done or something like that.
No, alhamdulillah, if you're doing well that way, it's like also marketing, but it's like a word of mouth publicity,
Yeah, that's what it is.
So it's happening without you doing, it's just with your work that's happening.
Yeah, alhamdulillah, that's how it works.
And then people also see you like if sometimes on somewhere and they connect. So it takes some time, I would say. It's not so fast, but then writing is also not a fast process. And, like publishing and everything, it takes so much time.
Yes, it does. Yes.
Especially if you see like the fast world of today, and then the writing is like two different things, because you really have to focus and take time and come back to it, and editing. And then there's a life which is running fast. It's like sometimes such a paradox, you want to split yourself into two things.
Yes, I do experience that, but after 2 years, I've got it down to a pat now. I've said to myself that I will not allow myself to be torn by this career. What I do is when I'm in that mind space now where I'm starting to get worried about, oh my God, I have 2 or 3 books that I'm working on at the same time. How am I going to manage this and this? Oh, this is happening. I have visitors coming, or how am I going to manage the household, or whatever the case may be. I always tell myself this: life comes first. Everything else will follow thereafter. And I always tell myself, one thing at a time. And in that way, alhamdulillah, I just stop myself when I'm hyperventilating and say life first. That's it.
Yeah, like for
That
me, it's
comes
like
first.
I would say I always tell myself that my child comes first. So I will not reply someone or do something, when he's around me or he needs my attention. So I just put everything aside and give him like 100%.
You have
And then,
to.
okay, when he's sleeping or he's not there or he's with my husband, then I do the things that needs to be done.
Yeah, you have to. Otherwise, we're passionate about what we do, and it is important. Of course, it has its place.
Yeah, because if you give the right priority to the right things, the guilt doesn't set in, because I see a lot of guilt in people that they're not at the right thing, doing the right thing, or they're doing half-heartedly. But if you're present where you need to be present, then I think it's fine,
Yes, absolutely. That's it. You're so right where that's concerned.
So I mean, that way I was like, okay, I had that moment, where you can, for a section of a second, think back that, okay, my child is crying right now and he needs me. So I will just, I said, okay, what I need to do right now is like, give him that attention that he needs, and everything come back later, because
Absolutely.
if I'm somewhere else, I'm still with him in my mind if he's crying or he's cranky or whatever.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I think one time I did something like I have to really, there wasn't anyone and I have to leave him like for 10 or 15 minutes alone in the room because I had a meeting. And then all the time I was just thinking about him, My
Yes.
focus was there that he's alone or he's crying. I don't know what he's doing, even though I'm watching from the camera, but still, So I said, okay,
Yeah.
100% one focus, we finish, we go to the next.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean, either we do it
100%.
100% with full heart or we don't do it. There's no
Both of
middle
it,
way.
yes. Both of it, absolutely.
Yeah, it's amazing. And how was your publishing experience? Like I saw you wrote your first book with, and the second one, but how was overall your publishing experience or the publishing journey? Because I feel the writers who are starting, they feel a lot of, difficulties to find a publisher, and then they have to wait until the book is published. Sometimes takes an year, sometimes takes 2 years.
Yeah. I think I was very clear from the very beginning about my purpose for my books. I was not as concerned about sales as I was about establishing myself as a ghostwriter, as an editor. And of course, when your objective is that, you're using the books that you write to leverage the other part of your business, which of course, from which you earn more than you would if you actually concentrated on sales. So sales is important, and if your sole focus is the sale of your books, then obviously you would need to put the majority of your energy into the marketing of your books, because that's your primary income earner. But for me, my primary income earner is my editing and my ghostwriting consultancy. So for that, you need to have experience in writing books, in editing books. So what I have on the shelf is just 3 or 4 books that are under my name. But it is the fact that I have those 3 or 4 books under my name that then from which I leverage other income, which is my editing and ghostwriting business. So I never really put my energy into marketing those books anyway. But Exceptional Authors Are Authentic is where my energy is going, because that sort of establishes and cements my experience over the last 5 years as an author, and it also helps other authors to cement their lifestyle and mindset before they actually become authors. That is what the book focuses on. My publishing experience has been it's been easy. If you do it through Amazon, there's no two ways about it. It's an easy process. I've never really worked with a publisher per se.
Okay.
Obviously, because my objectives are different. But you are quite right when you say that getting a publisher for your book is extremely difficult, because it's not like I haven't tried, and it's not like the authors that I've worked with haven't tried either. So it's a tedious process, it's a difficult process. The process of getting agents, the process of getting publishers to look at your synopsis and your proposals for a book is a science and an art that you need to get down to a fine tune before you can even get your foot into the publisher's door. And those are things I've had to learn along the way. But what I can say with confidence, after helping other authors do it, is that when you know exactly what they are looking for in terms of a proposal, then it is easy to get your foot in the door. What authors struggle with, I know, is they can write a 300-word novel, but they struggle to write a back cover blurb. Somehow, when it comes to summarizing your book, it is extremely difficult. They struggle to write a proper synopsis. Somehow, they can write a 50-page chapter, but they can't summarize the chapter.
Actually, very understandable, because they have written 50,000-word book, they have written 70,000-word book, and now you're asking them to put something in 70 words or 700 words. It's really difficult, what to leave and what to put in.
I know. I tried with my non-fiction books, and I'm like, oh my God, what do I do here? But it's a science. You've got to find out specifically what that publisher is looking for. And it's not the same proposal that you will make over and over again. The mistake that authors make is that they have one set document that they would like to send to every publisher across the board. It does not work like that. Different publishers have different requirements, and unless you meet every requirement that particular publisher is looking for, your proposal is going into what I call file 13, which is the bin if it doesn't meet it. Because they get tons and tons of proposals, and there are particular things that they are looking for. If they don't find it in the first couple lines of your proposal, or if in a particular section of the proposal, that's it. They're going to take it, they're going to put it away, and they're never going to look at it. And you could have written a brilliant book. The second thing that authors need to understand is that publishing is a relationship. Okay. And once you put your foot in the door, what you want to do is work at establishing a long-term relationship with your agent and your publisher. Because it's easy for a publisher to say yes. But once you present yourself as an inflexible author, because you don't want to deal with the edits, or you don't want to deal with their cover suggestions, or you don't want to deal with their blurb suggestions, or you don't like the person that you're working with, you're just this inflexible author who wants what you want, then you're going to find yourself in file number 13 very, very quickly. And if you think that publishers don't talk to each other, you mistake. Okay, they talk to each other, and you will find that no matter how many of them you approach, after you get it wrong with the first one, you won't get it right with anybody.
And also the agents, I think they're all connected.
If you have to end something, make sure you end it on a good note, so that you are still in a position to talk to other publishers, talk to other agents, because you haven't burned your bridges per se. So it's very important. Look, we all think that we've written brilliant books, but the fact is that writing is subjective. You may think you wrote it brilliantly, but somebody from the outside has another view, another perspective. And because publishers and agents know their markets so well, they are probably in a better position to help you to publish a book that is marketable. You don't want a complete yes to what you've written if the book is still going to lie on the shelf. You want a yes to a book you've written, but you want to put out a book that is 100% marketable. So listen to your publishers. You don't have to agree to everything 100%, but you do have to listen. You do have to think objectively, and you do have to be flexible to a certain degree. Non-negotiable.
Yeah. No, that's a great advice for the writers and authors, and they don't get it from anywhere, this kind of advice. So thank you so much. Do you want to read something for us from your one of the books?
Sure. 1 second.
Yeah.
Here is Exceptional Authors Are Authentic.
I will get my copy soon.
Inshallah. I look forward to your review. And I'm just going to open randomly to anything. It's called Writing for Healing, this section, journal writing. And here I said, I gave petty credence to this type of writing for a long time until I tried it and realized that it is an undervalued part of health and healing. At the same time, it can help to improve your writing. A terrific author is a stable and balanced one. Keeping a clear, untroubled mind is key in being able to focus. This is especially true if you are ghostwriting or working on projects that have deadlines. Your clients for whom you write and your own book deserves your optimum focus at all times. Journaling is also an effective way of overcoming writer's block. I have always said and continue to maintain that challenges in life are a given. If not handled properly and with a solutions-oriented approach, they can stand in the way of your productivity. If you have chosen authoring as a full-time vocation, then it is important that you don't get bogged down by the challenges that life will continue to present. More importantly, it is important not to use it as an excuse to not achieve your objectives. When challenges present themselves and you feel too troubled to focus, then journaling is a good way to handle it. The first reason to journal is to get perspective on what is troubling you, and the other is to overcome writer's block by getting the perspective that you need. How much longer do you want me to go? You want me to go? Writers often find that when they journal about the challenges that they are facing and find solutions to their challenges by the time they have finished writing. This helps clear their minds and emotions and makes way for the focus that is needed. In an article titled Journaling Benefits for Mental Health, Sandra Larson, a professional writer, suggests that journaling is a process that is known for its healing properties. The biggest advantage she suggests is that it doesn't require you to be skilled. It only requires you to write whatever you think and feel. In Nasreeniology terms, we recommend bleeding all over the paper. And that's where I'll stop.
Yeah, it was really nice. I think I need to get my copy. And also, do you have a message for the readers of your book and also who will watch this interview? I think you already gave the message for the authors, really great advice.
There are lots of burgeoning authors out there, and they have little worries and concerns about everything else except writing. So what I want to say to them is, your first draft is always going to be terrible. This should not stop you from taking a 2-week break after you have written the first draft. And I mean a complete break. And then come back after 2 weeks and look at your first draft with a different eye, a different perspective. Change and change and change your book and refine it until you are satisfied enough with it to pass it on to an editor. But don't stop. Because if you stop, you will always be living the rest of your life wondering, what if? You will always say things like, I had a great story to tell, but I couldn't write it. You know, you don't want to be that person with a what if, and you don't want to always be saying, I have a great story to tell. But what you want to do is you want to spend this time imagining what the cover of your book looks like. You want to spend this time envisioning what the launch of your book looks like, so that it drives you to write the rest of your book and get to where you want to go. There's a reason you have a drive within to write. There's a reason you think you have a story to tell. Everybody is born with a best-selling story within. It's up to you to decide how you're going to use that story to help others.
Exactly. So thank you so much, Nasreen. It was really, really great pleasure, to have you and talk to you, and you shared so many gems with us, of advice. So I hope it will really, help the authors, and I will share also your handles and, your website link so they can have a look.
The pleasure's all mine, Sana. Thank you so much for having me, and thank you so much. It's been an honor.